Welcome to Pagan Crafting. Today we're looking at a travel pocket altar, part 2. We're dressing the tin. Today is about making the tin, the altar, customizable for you in any way that you'd like. So we're going to go through that, have some fun today. Now part 1 was a tour of the altar, part 2 is the dressing of the tin, part 3 you'll have to see it right after this. Stay tuned and let's have some fun with some pagan crafting. Today on Pagan Crafting, we're going to do something super easy. We're going to dress the tin. We're going to dress this little pocket altar with tarot cards and printed off pictures. First, what you want to do is you want to make a template. So you want to grab a piece of paper, whatever miniature altar that you're using. I'm using an Altoids Tin. And you want to just trace the outside lines and cut that out, and there's your template. And we're going to use this a few times in here today. Now I already have cut out my Ouija board ones, and it was a little short when it printed, but that's okay. I'm a little bit short on the edges, but I'm going to use some black acrylic paint on the edges and stamp that in, and we're going to hide that's not all the way to the edges. Now I think the tarot cards would be a really cool touch for my tin. I chose the Emperor card because I'm an Aries, and the Emperor is ruled by Aries and the major arcana and tarot card, so I thought that was cool. And I like what it represents as well. So that's going to go at the base of my little altar. I decided to cut off all the white around the edges as well. Just gave it a cleaner look. I think it fits quite nicely. Now for the top, I'm using the Three of Swords. I just thought it looks really cool. Sometimes the Three of Swords can be a bit of a sad card. But I really liked how it looked. It's a really cool design. And you know what? It means healing as well. It means apologies when things are coming to you. I want to keep the red on the outside because red happens to be one of my favorite colors. So I kept a nice finish. I'm not going to paint the tin. Now the card comes into, it's actually laminated together into 2 pieces. So if you take your time, if you can find a little bit, you can pull it apart. I didn't speed up this part because I want you to see how slow you really want to go slow. This, I was hoping for this. This is a one-take scene, my friend. And you just got to go super slow, and you want to remove the back of the card, which is going to leave you a very thin paper finish for the front. So the reason I did this is the Altoids can itself isn't flat. So if I decide to try to paste down, glue down the card without taking off the backing, then it probably would have started to lift, and it wouldn't have stuck down as well as I needed to. Here I'm using Mod Podge paint. This one is the high gloss. The yellow one was the flat. I would like a super high gloss finish. Mod Podge is great because when it finishes drying, it leaves a nice glossy finish, or you can choose the matte if you don't like the gloss. And you also paint another layer of paint over top of it, or glue over top of it, to seal it in and also create a super glossy finish. This one I'm painting on the back, or gluing on the back of the paper. getting out all the little bubbles as much as I possibly can, and painting another, or gluing on another finish. I keep saying painting. I guess it is kind of painting. Paint glue on. Now for the very bottom of the can, I'm going to use some red felt as well. I was going to paint the can, but I didn't want the paint to get scratched off, so I thought this would be nice, and I think it'll be a really cool finish on it. It looks super nice. You can get this felt at any craft store, a dollar store. They're very easy to find. While the glue is drying on the can, I'm going to just paint the finish on the side around the Ouija board printout on the inside of the lid. Now I'm using a brush that's a little bit thicker, and the reason for that is I want to create a bit of a trash brush. You can see how now that the glue is dried, it has a gloss finish, but I want to hide that it didn't go all the way to the edges. So I'm just going to brush stroke it in and pull the paint on towards the picture itself, the Ouija board, just a little bit. And I'm going to hit all the edges first, and then I'm going to stamp brush it in, as you see as I'm speeding up. Just stamp it in. We don't want to have, I don't really want to have brush stroke marks in it, so I always stamp again over top of it. And it gives it a really nice finished look, and you don't see the unfinished look of the tin on the sides. And then just stamp it in, stamp, 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 and then it looks like it's part of the picture, and we did not make it all the way to the edge. There's always ways for hiding anything. I think it looks cool, but I would like something on the inside, I think around the Emperor. Now I can only put it on the inside at the bottom. You can't put anything at the top, or else the lid won't close properly and it'll just lift up. So I could only focus on the bottom of the tin. And again, red being one of my favorite colors, I'm going to rock that for the lining as well, and it'll match the bottom side. Just using a felt pen here to mark my lines, because you're not going to see it anyway. You can just have that go to the back, or use that as your cut line. And it looks like I'm going to need 2 pieces. All right, now I got those ready. Be generous with your glue. When gluing this in, you really want it to stick well in. Just measuring out my little pieces here. Now I'm using my Mod Podge again, but I'm using the matte. I don't need the gloss sneaking through the felt if it does, if I put too much glue on. Just a matte finish should be cool, and be very generous with your glue, because you want it, you're sticking onto metal, so you want it to stick in here very, very well. Working my way all the way around. I don't want to see any tin, so I'm just going and touching up any spots. And just sticking it down with my finger, going for the next part. It looks like it's a little, I need to clean that up a little bit. Not a very good cut. Well, there we go. That looks a little better. Also, not only this lining looks aesthetically pleasing, but it'll help when things are kind of rattling around in the tin. It'll prevent anything from moving around too. I managed to squish quite a bit of stuff into my little pocket altar, so I think things are pretty tight in there, but it will give it a little extra anyway. A little extra padding. And now that the tin is dry, I'm going to add my base. Again with the Mod Podge and going for matte glue. Being very generous with the glue again. And I'm feeling that. So there is our tin, our fully dressed tin, with a little Ouija board, with the Emperor, with our little Three of Swords. I like it. Thank you for hanging out with me today. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you. I hope this inspires you for your miniature pocket altar tin. Stick around for part number 3 and let's have some fun together.